ここの制服が着てみたかったの。似合ってたでしょ?
So I believe we are waiting for the generator room to cool down, and then while it's happening, I could choose to hang out with either Sarah or you, and I chose you. Now, the conversation started out being about Sarah, even though I was talking to you, but it looks like it might shift soon. We'll see. Yeah, I wanted to try on the uniform here. It looks good on me, doesn't it? Well, you're not wearing it right now, but I don't know if the people writing this text really accounted for the outfit switching. Of course, she's going to go, of course not, in the next line, saying that you struck a pose and winked. Phew. I burst out laughing.
失礼ね。
How rude. No, it looks good on you. Yeah, you look really good in your uniform. There are taws in there, so maybe it is supposed to be indeed past tense. Yeah, you looked good.
え、そう？やっぱり似合ってた？
That's right, look on me. After all, question mark. What's this called again? Okay, it's that kanji. So I searched the middle of ma something or other. It might have something to do with like brain. Something to do with brain because the second radical is the same as probably the one for the word for head. Let me see here. Like, that's the one that's wrong, right? No, that means amount. Interesting. I think this one can actually be fixed with just a little something. Yeah. Now that gave me potatoes. But I can fix that. Yeah, I searched in my head for the word is the correct answer. I believe. So what are my options for the word I searched for in my head? Beautiful life. That looks correct. Or even the horseman has a costume. Whoops. Beauty is short-lived. Okay, I'm going to do a real save as opposed to just a quick save that all happened automatically. See what the reaction is. If I get to pick the wrong one, I'm going to save scum it. Because I think I'm allowing myself to save scum here because this is not my first run through. Right? I don't save scum. But it's your first run through of the kid's side. Yeah, okay. Maybe. I'll take... I'm committing a sin if that's not allowed. So, short-lived... Short-lived sounds kind of insulting. I'm going to try the second one, and I'm going to miss. Then why don't I try the first one, then? That's right. The horseman also has a costume, right?
あのね少年、ちゃんと意味が分かって言ってるの？
You know, young man, do you understand what you're saying? Was I wrong?
つまらないものでも外面を飾れば立派に見えるって例えよ。
It's an analogy that even boring people can look admirable if they put on appearances. Oh, really? I'm sorry.
まあいいわ。少年知らなかったんでしょ？
Well, whatever, young man. You didn't know.
でも私って外面を飾ってもそれに負けないくらい内面も輝いてるでしょ？
I just learned a Japanese idiom. But I shine so brightly on the inside that I won't lose it, even if I put on an exterior. You struck another pose and winked.
えへ？
Eh-heh. I could do nothing but nod silently.
まあ冗談はここまでにして、私が個人的な理由でレミューにバイトしに来たのはね。
Well, that's enough joking around. The reason I came to Lemieux is for personal reasons.
それは大切なものを探すためなの。
That it is to find something important. Something important? When I asked her that, an incredible loud sound echoed through the narrow passageway.
何よ！
Now, what? Now this is interesting. Takeshi? Before I could react, you yelled and hugged me. Wow. I raised my voice in surprise for a different reason, because she hugged me.
まさかこれってラップ現象とか？まさかよね。そんなもんあるわけ。
Don't tell me this is a rap phenomenon or something. Can't be right. There's no way something like that exists. Is this like Bigfoot? Okay, what is rappa? Rappa. I don't know what that expression means. But I'm going to reload that save and see what different dialogue I get if I do the other option. So... Okay, let's do the top option, which is life is short. or something. That's right. Beautiful women die young. uh, okay.
この場合ちょっと意味が違うけど、でもまあそうかもね。
It's that. Here's the issue with that. It's like that would work. That would give you like, they would accidentally pry out a plot point if you said it to the other you. But this is not that you. In that case, the meaning is a little different, but well, maybe that's true. Was I wrong?
美人に生まれた人は不幸せだったり病弱で早死にしたりするって意味よ。
I mean, people born beautiful are unhappy, or they die young because they are sickly.
美人に生まれたのが私の不幸の始まりだったのね。よよよよよ。
That's a weird expression because it's not really. I don't see how anybody would think that that is true unless they're trying to cope with being not beautiful looking from the start. There are examples of people, like I presume it would probably be actually inversely correlated with it, with projected lifespan and being like good looking. That being said, there are some notable exceptions, like John F. Kennedy, who was apparently very good looking and in very poor health. But I also died young for different reasons besides health. But he would have died kind of young maybe anyway. So it really depends. There's like these anti-correlated stuff, right? But it would think that that would actually be, in general, despite the exceptions, better looking people would live longer. Because a lot of things that make you not look as good have to come from illnesses. Being born as a beautiful woman was the beginning of my misfortune. You struck a pose of breaking down in tears. All I could do was silently applaud.
まあ冗談はここまでにして、私が個人的な理由でレミューにバイトしに来たのはね。
Well, that's enough joking around. Okay. So, I don't think that what you pick there matters. I think you're both wrong, but I'm going to just kind of continue based off of the one I picked the second time, because it's easier than going back and re-switching it. So, okay. Which one is skip? No, that's quick save. That hides the text. Okay. So skip does work correctly. Something important? Wait. Okay, so they did manage to get to the end of what was previously read there. Interesting. You calm down a little. What's a rappa? I guess I'll never know. The Rap phenomenon. The Rappa phenomenon. What's a Rappa phenomenon?
ほらこの音よ。
Here is the sound, or the sound again, or there's the sound. The
誰もい
sound.
ない何もない空間から鳴り響く超常現象的な音なのよ。
It's a supernatural sound that rings out from empty space where no one... No one can resist this sound. It's a supernatural sound that reverberates from empty space. Well, sound can't travel in empty space, because the way we define sound usually is a propagation of a how do we describe what a phonon is? It's whole atoms hitting other whole atoms, and the interaction between interacting atoms as the medium. It sounds really like needlessly complicated, but that's the only way I could really say it. Like you can travel a phonon through air, you can travel to a crystal, you can travel through water, as long as it has something to hit against something else. And so then in empty space, because it's empty, right? That implies that there's no matter. There are no atoms. There are no molecules to hit against each other. And so you don't, whatever propagates through that medium, which stuff can propagate through empty space, we wouldn't call a phonon. We wouldn't call it a sound. I guess you could say it's a supernatural sound. Then you could even hear it in empty space just by using supernatural as an excuse. But aside from that idea, the whole expression makes no sense. And I don't even know if supernatural is the right word because one of the kanji got read wrong. And that kanji could be the one that's being interpreted as supernatural. So, anyway. Yeah, there is stuff like moving all the time in empty space. You can't actually have something that's truly and utterly empty. You always have vacuum fluctuations, which suggests that you can have things like Hawking radiation and whatever. But you don't have any like entire atomic nuclei in empty space, unless you could have that like spontaneously form in this crazy spontaneous, like I don't know.
だけど超常現象なんてないんだから。
But sound doesn't go through travel. But we don't define something that it would go propagate through the vacuum of space as sound. You was like, but there are no supernatural phenomenon. Well, so why are you scared? I guess supernatural was the thing. But there is no such thing as paranormal activity.
きっとこれは錯覚。別の原因があるはず。
This must be an illusion. No, there must be another cause. You stepped away from me, closed your eyes, and thought. Then she opened her eyes.
そうよ。この音は発電室の熱膨張で膨らんだ鉄板とか冷えて縮む時の音なのよ。
Oh, that's right. This sound is the sound of the iron plate swelling up from the thermal expansion of the generator room. Or when it gets cold and shrinks. Okay. Hontoni? Right, that's really, right? Really?
多分ね。
Probably. Right?
大体ね少年。ラップ現象って現象はないのよ。 それって自然現象の錯覚なのよ。
Well, that means it's cooling down. Is she going to suggest that means it's already cooled down? Besides, young man, there are no rap phenomena. They're just an illusion. They're just illusions of
世の
natural
中には
phenomena.
ね、説明できない不思議なことなんてないのよ。
Probably English speakers would probably say caused by natural phenomena. And is this going to kick off the whole thing about she doesn't believe in myths? There's nothing mysterious in the world that can't be explained. Mysterious thing that can't be explained? Naturalism! Which doesn't really make any sense because we can't explain everything in nature. So... what? That's right, come to think of it, something strange happened yesterday.
不思議なことって
I guess you would say, well, it can be explained if you were to theoretically have sufficient intelligence. What do you mean by mysterious? Well, I managed to see some things happen before they happened. When I went to the decompression room last night, I met a girl. Oh, this is different from the original. We're actually going to discuss this with you. Unless they do in the original and I forgot. That might be the case. I just don't remember that happening. That girl, said girl, suddenly appeared in front of me. But then, that girl suddenly appeared before my eyes. Maybe that girl is a ghost? A ghost, I think?
幽霊
Ghost? I mean, if you're working off a timeline in which she dies, yeah, maybe. Hey, I'm sure it is. I mean, it's a way to harmonize the timelines. She's just a ghost. If you think about it that way, it would explain the irregularity of the biosignal numbers and how they suddenly disappeared. Also explain the irregular changes in the vital signs and why they suddenly disappeared before my eyes or whatever. But we had this alternative explanation for that in the Takeshi site, where there were just other people that probably were in an elevator coming up from IBF. And then when they came up the elevator from IBF and then got into Kazumi Shirval and left in it.
バカなこと言わないでよ。
Baka! Don't be a baka. Seriously, listen to me, implied.
幽霊なんてこの世には絶対にいないのよ。
Ghosts will never give in to this world. Ghosts will never succumb to this world. I don't know what she means by that, but okay. I don't want to switch them around, but this world will never succumb to ghosts. How can you be so sure?
幽霊の正体見たり枯れ尾花って言うでしょ。
Because I've never seen one myself, basically. When you see the true form of a ghost, you see the withered pampas grass, correct?
怖い怖いと思っていれば枯れすすきも幽霊に見えるってこと。大体が錯覚なの。思い込みなのよ。
So kawaii means scary or horror. She says it twice at the start. If you think it's scary, that is, withered pampas grass is scary, then when you look at it, it looks like a ghost. It's mostly an illusion. It's just an assumption. So I guess withered pampas grass looks scary. Okay. Let's see if I'm going to Google withered pampas grass. Doesn't really look scary, but okay. Maybe at night.
それに古今東西の怪談話なんてものはほとんどが作り話なの。
It's like sepia filter. Besides, ghost stories from all over the world are mostly made up.
要するにエンターテインメントを目的としたフィクションってわけね。
This is similar to the conversation you have while fixing the generator in the original. They're probably having you do it in the hallway instead of like at the generator. But there's still a CG though, so maybe they'll do more at the generator. It's a really long conversation, so we're going to be here a while. Although they probably rewrote it and made different words, but it's probably still long. In other words, it's fiction for entertainment.
妄想の産物。本人の興味や精神状態が生み出した幻想ってこと。
It's a product of delusion. It's an illusion created by your own, I presume, person's own interest and mental state. Yeah, that's about right. Approximately.
UFO とかカッパもそうだけど、人間っていうのは想像することが好きなの。
UFOs and Kappa, whatever that is, are the same. I presume Kappa are like paranormal things. But humans like to imagine. I don't know what a Kappa is.
この想像力のおかげで人間はここまで進化してこれたわけだけど、ある意味においてはものすごく厄介な能力なのよね。
It's thanks to this imagination that humans have been able to evolve this far. But in a way, it's an incredibly troublesome ability.
行き過ぎると妄想と現実とがごっちゃになっちゃう。
If you go too far, delusions of reality become a jumbled mess.
いると思い込んでいれば、ありえないものだって存在するように感じてしまうわけだし。
If you think of it as existence, it makes you feel like something impossible exists. What? If you believe that something exists, you will feel that even something that cannot exist exists. Well, have you played Ever17? I mean, Ever17 seems to kind of decanonize itself, so I don't know.
怖いと怖がっていれば、何でもないものだってそれっぽく見えてしまうもんよ。
If you're afraid of regret and fear, then even if it's nothing, it will look like it. I presume. It's like if you're... Where is the regret coming from? I don't see anything wrong. Interesting. Wonder why it's of regret, though, in all these translations. Because regret doesn't make any sense in context. To me, I just want to think of it as, if you're afraid of something, you'll tend to end up, like, imagining its existence, and things will be like the thing you fear, even if it doesn't exist. But... So how do you explain paralysis and stuff? Well, it's a medical condition.
金縛り?
Paralysis? I mean, there is a naturalistic explanation for sleep paralysis, if that's what you mean. It's when you wake up in a weird order where you don't unparalyze before other things. Yeah, when I wake up from sleeping, I can't move my body. That's because you can't move your body sometimes when you're sleeping. It depends on the type of sleeping you're doing. And then it wakes up like your consciousness before it wakes up the ability to move. Is that just my imagination too? No, that's real.
それはきっと縛られたんだよ。寝てる間にね。
Apparently it's terrifying, but it's never happened to me. Yeah, it's supposed to be terrifying. I just never had it happen, so I don't really know. I never really had like a concept because, Like, I just know academically that apparently in certain stages of sleep you are paralyzed, but because I've always been asleep when that's happening, I've never actually experienced it. Now, that must be because you were tied up when you were sleeping. What in the world, you? I guess that's what she said. Who?
SM 好きの恋人に。
Let me get a Google Translate on this. I think it's quite correct. Yeah, it's a. So I presume that this is like something to do with love. Even though. No? Is it this one? Okay, new translation window. I gotta pick this apart. So, what's this? Oh, okay. So, this is just SM Saki no Lovers D. So, lovers who like SM. That's always so odd because generally, overall, the rewrite, they kind of cleaned the game up as an experience so far, right? But then there's this like these weird things that you says every once in a while, like 4 Fs and this line. It's like, no, we didn't. This line's not in the original game. They just introduced this. If you're not following this, by the way, if I didn't mention this, SM is sadism and masochism. There's no way that's true. How would the kid know what that is? That was just a joke.
金縛りってのは体は眠っているのに脳は起きている状態のことよ。
And that would also be like an assault, like an SA by mindset. It's like, do we consider it an SA if it has to be someone, if it's some sort of sadist who ties you up as opposed to just tying you up in a vacuum? I don't know. By paralysis, you mean when your body is asleep but your brain is awake?
だから意識はあっても体は動かないの。
That's why even though you're conscious, your body won't move. There's a story that when you open your eyes when you're paralyzed, there's a ghost on top of your body.
あんた、記憶喪失なのにくだらないことは覚えてるのね。
Even though you lost your memory, you still remember stupid things.
それは目を開いたと思い込んでるだけで、本当は夢を見てるの。
That's just because you think you've opened your eyes, but you're actually dreaming. Or no, sometimes you actually have woken up.
脳は活発に動いてる上に体が思うように動かないっていう恐怖心があるわけだから、その2つが重なって。
Not only is your brain active, but it also constantly afraid that your body won't move the way it wants it to. So those two things overlap.
いかにも突飛な夢らしい夢をはっきり現実に見たと思ってしまうわけ。
You can't help but think you saw a dream in real life. You think that you had a dream that seems like a dream, but it was real.
さっきも言ったでしょ。強く強く思い込むことで現実なんてものは簡単に歪められてしまうの。
It's like, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, it makes sense to the last line, I think. I told you before, didn't I? If you make the wrong assumptions, reality can easily be warped. I'm not convinced. But there's one thing I do know. Coco's real. Not entirely convinced, but there is one thing there's one thing I did understand. I can't beat you with words. I know that. And by words, it's less like the word for word, it's like with my mouth. That's because that's how the grammar works. So it's like, so this po is something that's not supposed to be there. Boku is I. Wa is topic, which means I'm talking about myself. This is kuchi, which means mouth. Sometimes it turns into Gucci when the Japanese contract it with other words because they're too lazy to say k, so they say g. Kind of like a lot of English speakers will say d instead of t. We'll say like battle instead of battle. But that actually gets encoded into the Japanese spelling. Like they actually update the spelling to reflect that, whereas English we never update our spelling. So our spelling is just weird and out of date on everything. And then day can mean two things. One of the most common, like first thing you think of when you think of the particle day is like the place at which something happens. So, but it's also used for the means by which you do something. So it could comprise the location it happens or the tool you use to do it with, which are two completely different things. So I don't know why they have the same particle, but they do. So this structure is the tool. It was talking about something I'm doing using my mouth, not something that's happening in my mouth. It's probably like a J-pop song. Chocolate Katabara by Otto. You hear a lot of coochie in there. If you wonder what that lyric means all the time, it's mouth.
その顔、まだ納得できないって感じね。
That face. You still don't look convinced, do you? I can't accept it. After all, I saw it. At least, that's what I saw.
まさか、僕には霊感があるんだとか言い出さないよね。
Don't tell me you're going to say something like, I have a spiritual sense.
ちょっとマジ？言い出すつもり？
Are you serious? Are you going to say it? People have gotten so weird with that. So I forgot how many, 3 people, which basically Joseph Smith's friends said they saw the golden plates, and then later in their life when they're pressed on it, they said, well, we spiritually saw them, but that's like basically equivalent to just physically seeing them. They never denied it. They just said, like, we spiritually saw them. In case it wasn't clear, they didn't see nothing. But the gospel accounts of Jesus' resurrection say that what they testify to is that those who saw the empty tomb literally went to the empty tomb and physically saw it empty. And those who saw and touched the resurrected Jesus physically saw him and physically touched him. So it's somewhat different. Okay, it's just a dot, several dots.
ああ、もうわかったわ。
I get it.
でも突然薄桃色の エクトプラズムとか吐き出したりしないでね。
Just don't suddenly spit out light pink ectoplasm, okay? Forgot what ectoplasm is. What's ectoplasm? Oh. It's literally like stuff that comes out of you during an exorcism or something. Okay.
ああ、あとそれから、ここでは奨励行為も禁止。
Oh, also, no bewitching here. About what? Oh, by the way, inviting spirits is also prohibited here.
ポルターガイストとか起こったら、ネジとかバルブとかが外れて
It's
浸
against the
水
rules.
が起きちゃうからね。
Wow, because the ghosts follow the rules? If a poltergeist or something happens, screws and plugs, I presume, right? Neji, I guess, is screws, and Kabaruf will come loose and flooding will occur. Well, that's what poltergeists do, is they, like, destroy things, right? Right? Or that's a gremlin. Am I getting them confused? Screws and valves would come loose and cause flooding. You seem awfully knowledgeable about things you don't believe in.
信じたくないから詳しいの。
Because my mom! I don't want to believe it. I just know, because I have this genetic predisposition to be into paranormal things, but I have this teenage rebellious thing that makes me want me to not be into paranormal things. Because my
だからっ
mom is.
て、私の知識は防御のためにあるんじゃないわ。
But there doesn't. But it doesn't mean it does, right? It is. I don't know. Both translators say my knowledge is not for defense. But it seems, but as far as I understand from the Hirameki translation, it is.
攻撃のためにあるのよ。
It's for attack. Oh, I get it. Okay. Okay, so she's saying not to defend. My knowledge of the stuff is not to defend the stuff, it's to attack the stuff. Okay, I thought it meant to defend against the stuff. And then I got confused.
つまり、幽霊とか超能力とか UFO とか、そういうオカルトを信じきっちゃって、あっちの世界に行っちゃってる人いるでしょ？
In other words, there are people who believe in the occult, like ghosts and UFOs, and have what? I mean, there are people who completely believe in ghosts, psychic powers, UFOs, and the like, and going to another world, correct?
私の知識は彼らをギャフンと言わせるためにあるの。
My knowledge is to make them squeal. But you
論
haven't
破するため
demonstrated
に
that.
敵の情報を仕入れてるってわけ。
I'm getting information on the enemy just so I can argue.
大学で考古学を専攻したのもそのためなんだからね。
That's why I majored in archaeology in college. Archaeology? It's not probably majored, it's declared your major as you haven't finished college, right? Archaeology refers to digging up dirt. Well, in the literal sense, not the metaphor, not the expression sense. looking for fossils, ruins, and deciphering ancient characters, right?
まあね。
Right. You and archaeology. It didn't really make sense. I don't know why you wouldn't say it would make sense, because, I mean, that's what she would do, even if she didn't have this complex. But that's what she, even like raised in ordinary circumstances, would want to do. That's her personality. So, what are you researching?
研究なんてそんな大層なものはしてないよ。私はまだ1年生だから基礎授業がほとんどなのよね。
Like, I didn't do anything that's impressive. I'm still at first year, so most of my classes are basic.
教授の講義を聞いたり、実習で発掘調査に参加したりしながら、考古学とは何なのかってやつをみっちり叩き込まれてる最中ってわけ。
I'm in the middle of listening to professors' lectures. For some reason, I couldn't say professors' lectures. And participating in excavations and research while being thoroughly drilled into by people asking, "What is archaeology?" I don't know if you would be doing any digs. It's like, you know, the first like slide on the PowerPoint slides. Archaeology 101. What is archaeology? That's what she's getting at, right? I was listening to professors' lectures and participating in excavation surveys as part of my practical training, and I was being thoroughly taught, what is archaeology? I see. And I wish your first year, like United States, if you're a first year in something, oftentimes I managed to kind of avoid this. It's like stuff that's completely unrelated to what you're trying to do. What? They call it general education. Oh, that's right. So you had to write like essays and stuff as a lot of it. And if you're, say, going to be an engineer, you're going to do a lot of writing, but none of it's going to be essays. So you still kind of scrap all that. Oh, that's right. Archaeology reminded me. Have you ever heard of the continent called Lemuria? I guess we're having this conversation in the hallway as opposed to when we're fixing the generator. Okay. It seems to be the origin of the name Lemu. Yeah, if you don't remember, in the original, like, you is wrenching. And, like, you're having this conversation, like, while she's wrenching. Like, anyway.
聞いたことあるも何も嫌っていうほど知ってるよ。
I don't know if I've heard of it or not. I know so much that I hate it. Probably it's something like, I have not merely heard of it. I know so much I hate it.
レムリアっていうのは紀元前2億年から5000万年に存在したと言われる幻の大陸のこと。
Lemuria is a phantom continent said to have existed 250 million years ago. That's not correct, right? Okay. Five Sinmon is 10 million, right? Google Translate could probably help me with this one. So it's a range that starts really old and ends at 50 million. And then there's a tilde. Yeah, 200 million up to 50 million. So it's a range. It's 200 to 50. 200 million to 50 million. The offline translator first, for some reason, plussed those two numbers together and made 250 million.
その大陸では現代よりもはるかに高度な文明が栄えていたが、何らかの原因により一夜にして海の底へと没したとされている。
On that continent, a more advanced civilization prospered due to luck. Huh? More luck than in modern times? Something about that. But it's said that for some reason it died at the bottom of the sea overnight. It's like Atlantis. It is said that on that continent, a civilization more advanced than ours flourished, but for some reason it sank to the bottom of the ocean overnight. That's what Google Translate says. Oddly enough, with Ever17, they talk about Lemuria a lot, and its origin of the name Lemu and so on. But it doesn't really have anything, like the continent of Lemuria doesn't really have anything to do with any of the main plot points, really. It's like a big distraction. Oh well. It's like completely irrelevant, really. You spoke in a fluent tone as if you were reading a text. High-level civilization sunk to the bottom of the sea. It's almost like Lemuria and Lemu or something. Lemuria and Lemu, I feel a strange sense of synchronicity as they meet the same fate. Right? The advanced civilization sink to the bottom of the sea. The advanced construct that is Lemu going to collapse and fall to the bottom of the sea.
学者の中にはこの大陸こそ人類発祥の地だとか主張してる人もいるらしいけど。
I never thought of it like that. But then again, in the original, Lemu was going to implode as opposed to Lemu was going to sink. It's different. But some scholars claim that this continent is the birthplace of humanity. Right? And the sinking makes it more analogous. So you can see the analogy better.
まったく何言っちゃってるんだか。そんなことありえるわけないのにね。
Geez, what am I saying? There's no way that's possible. Okay. See if I can pull this off. Let's type machine. Nope. I'll try adjusting the OCR filter of all things. That didn't change it. I wish I knew that kanji because it's such a common one. Okay. To say, so person say is this belief. It's something like you don't think so, I guess.
当たり前でしょ。考古学的にも地質学的にもほとんど根拠がないんだから。
There was some reason I couldn't get that one, but I think it's probably you don't think so. Or just to guess. Of course it is. Of course. Well, just of course. Archaeologically and geologically, there's almost no basis for it.
ちゃんとした研究が進むにつれて説得力はどんどん失われていって、もうまともな学問の分野では廃れきってる説なのよ。
The more properly research progresses, the less convincing it gets. It's a theory that's already out of fashion in the field of decent academics. And probably in this universe too. But we have to bring it up because it's like bloats up the game with more content. I see.
と言ってもそのあたりから出てきちゃったのよね。
Oh, what's this mean? Google Translate says, but it is from around here that it came out. Maybe like the idea came from Lemieux? Because it did. What?
海底に沈んだ遺跡よ。
Ruins sunk to the bottom of the sea.
それでここレミューにははるか大昔海の底に沈んだ大陸をモチーフにしたアトラクションなんかもあるけど。
What's also weird about this conversation is that if it happens in the hallway, as opposed to if it were to happen while you is fixing the generator, if you decide to go with Sarah as opposed to with you, then you completely skip it. Whereas in the original, this conversation, you would get it regardless of which character you were pursuing. Interesting. And here in Lemieux, there are some attractions that have the motif of a continent that has sank to the bottom of the sea a long time ago.
完全に再現した展示物や映像で幻の大陸の謎に迫りますなんて言ってね。
We're going to use fully reproduced exhibits and images to solve the mystery of the Phantom Continent. We'll approach the mystery of the Phantom Continent with perfectly reproduced exhibits and images. Okay.
レムリア大陸説がある海底で発掘された謎の古代文明の遺跡。その文明をレムリア大陸にあやかって古代レムリア文明って呼び始める始末よ。
As far as I understand it, canonically, it's just a theme for the theme park, right? The remains of a mysterious ancient civilization excavated at the bottom of the sea where the Lemurian continent theory exists. They're the ones who start calling the civilization of the ancient Lemurian civilization on the Lemurian continent. What? The remains of a mysterious ancient civilization excavated under the sea, which is believed to be the continent of Lemuria. People started calling the civilization the ancient Lemurian civilization after the continent of Lemuria.
まったく、中にはレムリアこそ浦島太郎に出てくる竜宮城だって言い出す人もいるし。
Honestly, some people say that Lemuria is the bad kanji that appears in the okay kanji. The dragon place from the legend of Urashima Taro, which probably is just a bunch of Japanese stuff that I wouldn't know anyway, but that's not what the answer is, because kanji got misread. Well, no, they're fine. Never mind, they're fine. I still don't know it.
現実ってのはね、残念だけどおとぎ話とは違うの。
Reality is different from fairy tales, unfortunately.
宗教なんかもそうだけど、神秘主義者たちが熱っぽく語る話ってのは往々にして夢物語なのよ。
It's the same with religions and the like, but it's often a pipe dream for mythics to talk so passionately. Okay, just like religion, the stories mythics enthusiastically tell are often just dreams. Which is a lot different from what the offline translator said.
そもそも根拠がないんだから、何を言っても構わないって発想なんだろうけどね。
You don't have any basis in the first place, so you probably don't care what you say. Isn't it because there's no basis for it that there's a deep meaning behind those words? How is that supposed to work? Perhaps it's precisely because there is no basis for the statement that it carries such a deep for their statement that it carries such a deep meaning. Explain that to me, kid. After all, those words are the only foothold that holds the argument back to reality. Well, because those words are the only thing that connects the argument to reality. Okay, continuing. That's what I was thinking absent-mindedly.
と、この先は行き止まりか。
This is a dead end. When I look up, there's a closed hatch in front of me.
この先がコスミッシャーバルへの道なんだけど。
This is the path to the cosmic whale. Val. You stood in front of the hatch, put her ear to the hatch, and tapped it. A dull, heavy sound rang out.
どうやらこっちはダメみたいね。
Looks like this one's no good. You spread her arms wide and struck a desperate pose.
あとは、マヨが向かった方だけど。
The other one is Mayo. We can go there too. Now it's Mayo's turn. We decided to turn back. We searched every path that led to Cosmishirval. Cosmishirval, however you say that German word. However, the roads leading to it were still flooded. And all of them were closed. Eventually the time came and we hesitantly opened the door. Just like when I opened the door to the bathhouse, steam began to pour out from inside. The room was unbelievably hot. The air in the steam-filled room is heavy and clings to my skin. As I take a deep breath, I feel a sticky lump of steam pass through my throat. Takeshi's mouth flapped open and closed like a fish gasping for oxygen.
なんだか息苦しくないか?
It's kind of hard to breathe.
いちいち分かりきったこと聞かないの。口に出したら余計に息苦しくなるじゃないの。
Don't say the obvious every time. If you say it out loud, it'll make it even harder to breathe.
ナッキュ先輩、さっさと終わらせて出ましょうよ。
Naki senpai, let's get this over with and get out of here.
そうね。では早速修理にかかりましょう。どれどれ。まずは故障の原因はと。
Yeah, let's start repairing this right away. Let's see, the cause of the malfunction is... You nodded and walked around the generator. Well, what's the cause?
わかりません。
I don't get it. Or I don't understand.
あのな、修理するって言い出したのはお前だぞ、お前。何しに来たんだよ。
Yeah, usually these things, you can't just look at it on the outside to see what's wrong. You're the one who suggested repairing it. What did we come here for?
いや、現場に来れば何かわかると思ったんだけど、やっぱり発電機の知識がないとダメだったか。
Well, I presume how they're going to change the plot. I mean, the original you could actually tell it was wrong. In fact, they didn't make a big deal about trying to figure out what was wrong. But they're probably going to write in here that Sara figures it out. Well, I thought I'd learn something if I came to the scene, but I guess I really didn't have... I really don't know... I really would have to have known the generator. Well, I thought I'd find something out if I came to the site, but I guess I really needed some knowledge about generators. Yep.
しょうがない。俺が。
Well, it can't be helped.
やっぱり熱水を運んでるパイプに亀裂が生じています。多分、事故の影響で破損したんじゃないかな。
There's a crack in the pipe that's carrying the hot water. It's probably damaged by the accident.
それで異常を感知して安全バルブが開放されて。
Then it detects an abnormality and the safety valve opens.
タービンを回すための出力が足りなくなったみたいですね。
It looks like it doesn't have enough power. It didn't have enough power to turn the turbine. Well, that's kind of what you disconnected, disjointed things. I don't know if that was like the original intended. What was working about the generator was never actually nailed down. It wasn't nailed down on Takeshi's side. They just said Tsugumi fixed it, whatever it was, and they didn't really discuss the problem.
なるほど。それで発電機は止まっちまったってわけだ。
I see. So that's why the generator stopped.
さすが私の後輩ね。
Oh, that's my underclassman for you. Is it possible to repair it?
そうですね。亀裂が生じたパイプを溶接したり交換して、あと、ここのパネルのパーツを交換すれば治りそうです。
Well, yeah, welding and replacing the pipes created by that were cracked, and then replacing the parts on the panel here should fix it.
パイプとか交換パーツは隣の倉庫にありましたから、なんとかなるんじゃないのかな。
Pipes and replacement parts were in the warehouse next door, so I think it'll work out somehow.
それじゃあ、早速取りに行きましょう。
Yeah, just take all the replacement parts from next door and just rebuild a whole new generator from them and then stick it in. Or do it like a Ship of Theseus style. Just kind of swap out the parts one by one, so you don't have to like lift the whole thing in. Well then, let's go get them right away. We searched the warehouse next door for parts to use for repairs. Sara found the pipes and replacement parts to use for the repairs, and Takeshi and I carried them over. You was the one who took the lead, according to... What? You was leading the charge, or so she said. In fact, she actually did nothing.
効率よく終わらせたいから、パイプの修理とパーツの交換の二手に分かれて作業することにしましょうか。
I want to finish this efficiently, so let's split into two groups. Repairing the pipes and replacing the parts.
じゃあ、私は溶接作業できますので、タイプの方を。
Well, I can weld, so I'll take the pipe.
それだと重いパイプを抱えたり力仕事が必要になるな。それは俺がやろう。
Mom taught me how to weld when I was a baby. Then you'll need to carry the heavy pipe. I'll do that, which is hard work, right? I'll do that. That'll require heavy pipes and heavy lifting. I'll do that.
じゃあ、私と少年でパネルのパーツを交換するわ。
Me and the kid will replace the panel parts. Wait, did the offline translator say me and the boy? It's the boy and I, offline translator. Well, the character I'm translating, I don't know if to use proper grammar. And so, repairs to the generator began. It's wrong. It's you're using a object pronoun for subject. Okay, now get the CG. But we don't have the conversation happen, like, during the CG this time, right? Because they already had it happen in the hallway. You used the light from my flashlight to remove the parts.
しょ。このネジ硬い。
This screw is so tight, right?
疲れた。肩が凝ったぞなもし。
I'm tired, my shoulders are stiff. You press down on her neck. Grabbed her something, and her bones cracked loudly. I presume she grabbed her head, but okay. What were we talking about earlier?
さっきの話？レムリアのこと？
Talking about earlier about Lemu or Lemuria? Yeah.
ひょっとしたら少年ってこの手の話がものすごく好きだったりする人？
Oh, we're still talking about it. So what would we be talking about here if we decided to go with Sarah on that previous part? Would we have to do this all? We have to like catch up on that whole conversation right here? Maybe the boy really likes that kind of story. I don't know, but I thought it might be similar to what's happening right now. Man, you grasp on anything, don't you? So please hang around a little longer just to kill some friendship. What? So two kanji got messed up there. I presume it's just like, so please tell me a little more. What he's asking.
ね、何でしたっけ？
Yes, yes. What was it again? Yeah, maybe Lemuria sank into the bottom of the sea because it angered God. Sodom and Gomorrah style. In other words, the people of Lemuria built such a high level civilization that I think God gave them a piece of his mind for their arrogance. So maybe more Babel style. Like I said, this time it's an accident with Lemu. Or so you think. So this time Lemu's accident was...
今回のレミューの事故だって神様が起こしたっての？ああ、バカバカしい。
Even the accident at Lemu this time was caused by God? And he goes, baka baka. Well, you have to complete a... It's called the sovereignty of God. Everything is actually ultimately caused by God. You can't really divide that off. Hey, listen seriously.
いや、真面目な話なら真面目にちゃんと聞くけどね。
Well, if it's something serious, I'll listen to it seriously. But you're talking about God, and I'm you.
バカな話を真面目に聞くとバカが映るから嫌なのよ。
I don't like it because if you listen to stupid stories seriously, it'll infect you.
ちょうどプラスとマイナスの掛け算みたいなものね。
It's like the multiplication of positive and negative.
プラスかけるプラスの解はプラスになるけど、
Plus times a plus is a plus.
マイナスかけるプラスの解はマイナスになっちゃうでしょ。
A negative times a positive would be a negative, right?
と、マイナスドライバー取ってくれない？
Could you get me a minus sign screwdriver? Yes. Flathead. I put the screwdriver in U's palm. Then you don't have to take it seriously, right? The kid says, well, then you don't have to take it seriously. You can just talk about it with me without taking it seriously. Listen to me like a baka.
何よ、バカ的な感じって。
What do you mean, like a baka? The ba got deleted. Let's change to Japanese and we go ba. Oops. Switch to kana. Ba. Ka. That's probably me. What do you mean, like an idiot? Multiplication, correct? Or what about multiplication? A minus and a minus make a plus, right? Minus times a minus is a plus. So if I'm an idiot and you're an idiot, we make a not idiot, right?
なるほどね。
I see.
OK。じゃあ、 ここのネジを全部締め終わるまでの間だけ君のバカ話に付き合ってあげよう。
Okay, then I'll play along with your story. Your hakiriki, whatever that means. Story until we're done with all the screws here.
で、何の話だったっけ？
So what were we talking about again?
要するに君はバベルの塔と同じだって言いたいわけね。
In other words, you're trying to say that it's the same as the Tower of Babel. Yeah, exactly. Tower of Babel.
旧約聖書の創世記ってお話に出てくる塔のことよ。
The original book. The book of the Old Testament? Who says that? Oh, we'll go along with it because minus and minus makes plus. So the original book of the Old Testament refers to the tower in the story, or the story of the tower. Oh, it is to leave the Genesis. Okay. The tower appears in the story of Genesis in the Old Testament. For some reason, the offline translator just deleted Genesis.
そのお話の中で人間は自分たちの栄華を誇示するために高い高い塔を作ろうとするの。天にも届かんばかりの巨大な建造物。
In that story, humans tried to build a tall tower to show off their own glory. An enormous structure that almost reaches the heavens.
でもそんな人間の行為に神様が腹を立ててしまった。
But God became angry at the actions of such humanity, such actions of humanity.
人間の分際で生意気だってね。
Partly because he said, spread throughout the whole earth, and that's not what they were doing. How rude of you to be a human being. I don't think that's the right interpretation, but whatever. Guess it's maybe how rude you are as human beings.
かくしてその塔は神の力で破壊され工事は中止させられちゃいましたと。
Or prideful or disrespectful, or a word like that. Thus, the tower was destroyed by God, and the construction was canceled, which is not in there. The tower, as far as we know, still stood and became the ziggurat in Babylon. Although that got rebuilt a couple times, but this is the first iteration of it. But the people scattered. They stopped working on it. So whatever they had built so far just got left there.
これがバベルの塔の神話。
That is the myth of the Tower of Babel. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Without pausing the work, I nodded. Right? Without stopping my work, I nodded. Correct. It's not
だ
two
とした
words,
ら
it's
そ
my
れ
word.
はきっとしばしいみたいな神様の仕業ね。
In that case, oh, okay. Unless she's gonna get all Hindu on you. Okay. If so, then it must be the work of a god like Shiva. Shiva, god, right? Yeah, and then unfortunately the kanji for God, typically pronounced kami, it just has a weird font. Okay, so anyway, it's Shiva the God. That's actually just an alternate way of writing that. Okay.
破壊神にして再建の神シバ。
Shiva, the god of destruction and reconstruction, apparently.
1000を超える無数の異名と4本の腕、4つの顔、3つの目を持つヒンズー教の三大主神の一人なの。
One of the three major gods of the Hindu religion, with over 1,000 nicknames, has 4 arms, 4 faces, and 3 eyes.
再生のために自ら世界を破壊してしまう神様なんだけど、
It's a god who destroys the world himself. If it's a him, I'm not sure. Hindu people could correct me on that. For the sake of rebirth.
その破壊が徹底されたものであるほど、次に大きな可能性を秘めた存在が生み出されるらしいの。
Cleans up the stale stuff. The more thorough the destruction, the more likely it is to be born. Or reborn. Born again. Born over. Born. Maybe they're saying that repairing it half-heartedly won't fix it. So it should be remade from the beginning.
多分ね。
Probably.
だからもしレムニアが神様の怒りで海に沈んだとしたら、そんな神様が滅ぼしたんだと思うのよ。
That's why if Lemuria were to sink into the sea because of God's wrath, I'm trying to figure out what we're wrong here. Okay. Okay, yeah, so there's an extra... This came out wrong because this is not supposed to be there. So it's more likely to read, if Lemuria sank into the sea because of the wrath of God, I believe that it was that God who destroyed it. Which is really mixing things up because you mix things up, but okay. I see. Where's her mom gonna get brought up? We haven't got to the mom thing yet. A god that destroys the filthy world and then purifies it. A god who punishes and rehabilitates. A god who punishes arrogant humans and rehabilitates them. In that case, what kind of anger would Lemu have occurred? That for which it would be forced to sink into the sea. Huh. In that case, what kind of anger did Lemu incur that led to it being drowned in the sea? I don't really get the analogy. I know why it needs to be drowned in the sea, but it's like... such a different kind of thing.
ほら少年、明かりがずれてるずれてる。
Look, young man. The lights are off. They're off. Oh, the flashlight's out of place. It's out of place. Okay. Oh, sorry, right? Yeah, I don't need to do that. That's Gomin, which is like, just like apologizing. I hurriedly returned the flashlight to Yu's hands. Like shining on Yu's hands. When I looked at the spot illuminated by the flashlight, there were 3 bolts lined up in a triangle. Kind of think of it. Didn't you say that Shiva has 3 eyes?
言ってたわね。それがどうしたの？
Yes, so what about it? I said that, what about it? That means... I placed my left-handed index finger between my eyebrows. My left-hand index finger between my eyebrows, okay. There's another eye here, right?
そういうことになるのかな。まあ、シバ神がいればだけどね。
Is that how it is? Well, if Shiva exists... Yeah, is that the case? Well, if Shiva exists...
伝承だと、その第三の目からは、この世のすべてを焼き尽くす浄化の光を放つって言われてたかしら。
The legend says the third eye emits a purifying light that burns away everything in this world. So just a long segue into the third eye. That's all this stuff talk is supposed to do, right? Beams coming from the eye? That's kind of amazing. Huh, you? I'm about to hit you with this wrench. Hello?
いけないいけない。危うく私まであっちの世界に行っちゃうとこだったわ。
What? Oh no, no, I almost ended up going to the other world too. Oh.
もっとバカ的に、バカ的に。
More idiocy. Idiocy!
よし、これでもう大丈夫。
That's alright. I'm okay.
そうそう。第三の目っていう概念は、シバ神だけに限らず、仏教やヨガの世界にも存在してるらしいの。
Okay, that was pretty well written. That was kind of done better. Yes, the concept of the third eye seems to exist only in Shiva. Not only in Shiva, but in Buddhism and yoga as well.
透視能力、遠隔視、スーパービジョン、霊の知覚、未来視、過去視。
Side view, far view, super view, spirit perception, future vision, past perception.
神がかり的な力の源であったり、あるいは厳しい修行の末に習得できる超能力だったり、諸説いろいろあるんだけど、それらに共通して言えることは、
There are various theories, such as that it's a source of divine power, that it's a superpower that can be acquired through rigorous training, but there's only one thing they all have in common.
第三の目が開眼すると、真の知恵が湧き、万物を見通すことができるってことかしら。
When the third eye is opened, true wisdom will be revealed and all things will be seen.
言うなれば人知を超えた存在、超人の象徴ってわけね。
In other words, it's the symbol of superhumanness. The number one thing that transcends human knowledge. True wisdom, huh? If there really is one, I'd like one too. Or there really is true wisdom, I sure would like it. With that, there's no way. Oh. If I had that, there's no way I can regain my memories. No way you can? You mean no way you can't? I presume it's saying, like, I can regain my memories, but it's like the opposite of that, so I don't know.
欲しいって第三の目を？
Oddly enough, it's the third eye that made you lose your memories. Ironically. Do you want a third eye? Yes, every time I head a basketball, it will go splat. Yeah. If I use that eye's power, I might be able to figure out my past. I might be able to figure out the identity of that girl. Well, as long as it's really real. Or she's real. Well, if that's really the case, okay.
じゃあ第三の目を見せてあげようか。
Then I shall show you the third eye. Eh? I raised my head. There. Whose face is there? Or a sprite, that is. When did you... We're so close that our breasts feel like they're touching each other. Her face is already so close that our nose is almost touched. You, written out in hiragana.
見たいんでしょ？
You want to see it, don't you? She said, still looking into my eyes. I don't know what pinching or whatever she's going to do here. I can't speak, my legs are shaking. My heart was pounding so violently that I thought it might leap out at any moment.
ほら、よーく見て。
Look closely. In kind of like the Tsugumi voice. Yu ran her fingers through her bangs and gently touched her forehead.
ここにあるでしょ？
She gonna like jump scare him? It's here, isn't it?
第三の目が。
The third eye. On Yu's forehead is... However, there was nothing. I was simply captivated by her smooth skin and her scent. Okay, so she doesn't jump scare him. Suddenly, Yu clutches her stomach and starts laughing. Eh?
冗談冗談だっぴょーん。
I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. Eh? Eh?
おかしいおかしすぎるよ
Oh, that was too funny.
ここまでもろに引っかかってくれるなんて君最高だよ
What did she think he would fall for exactly? Coco Made from this Moro. Huh. So the last bit is you're the best. Kimi. So this part, Kimi, is a type of you, second person pronoun. Yeah, I think it's just basically I didn't think he would fall for it, but I don't know what exactly he would have fallen for exactly. Google Translate once said, briefly said, I don't think you'd fall for me that easily, which is a weird, it means something completely different. You're terrible, you. I know you're like this, and you're just teasing me.
ごめんごめん少年がまたしても変なこと言い出すからちょっぴりいたずら心が芽生えちゃって
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The boy said something weird again, so I got a little mischievous. As she said that, you returned to her work. Honestly?
だからごめんってね
Like I said, I'm sorry, okay? Still haven't brought up her mom yet. You apologized again when she saw me still puffing out my cheeks.
だけどね第三の目ってあながち嘘でもなかったりするんだよね
But you know, the third eye isn't a lie after all. What do you mean?
なぜ我々の目は2つなのか
Why do we have two eyes?
目標物までの距離を測り正確にピントを合わせてよく見るために物理的には2つの眼球で十分だよね
Oh, she's gonna talk about, like, the, Well, we'll get there. Forgot what it's called. I forgot the anatomical term. Two eyeballs should be enough physically to measure the distance to a target, pinpoint it, and look closely. Well, you could theoretically do that by the focus length, but how the human brain does it is by the eyeball angle. Physically, two eyes are enough to measure the distance to a target, focus accurately, and see clearly.
だけど目は3つあったって考え方も神話じゃなく生物学的にもあるのよ
But the idea that there were three eyes is biological, not myth.
脊椎動物の祖先は三眼体性の生物だったのだってね
The ancestors of vertebrates were three-eyed creatures.
原始的な動物と言われる爬虫類例えば昔トカゲなどでは今でも頭頂部に3番目の目が残っているわ
Reptilians, said to be primitive animals, for example, the Mukashi lizard, have a third eye on the top of their head.
つまり第三の目って言っても人体科学的な意味で考えると何のことはないの
In other words, even if you call it the third eye, if you think about it from a human science perspective, it's nothing. Okay.
退化した器官の一つに過ぎないわけで、
It's just one of the degenerate organs. Right, and this light, this would just be just a luminosity sensor, just judged if it was day or night, right? Does that mean it's the same as an appendix, or the struggle between your fingers? You know, the webbing tissue between your fingers. The appendix does something. Okay, it's a backup of your gut bacteria. In case you do something that wipes them out, they can come back faster. What could you do to wipe them out, you ask? I don't know. Take antibiotics. I don't know if the like colonoscopy bowel prep, how much that actually like wipes out your gut bacteria. It probably doesn't actually very much. But something that wipes them out allows them to bounce back faster. It's like a reserve. It's not a completely useless thing. The webbing between your fingers, that's not a vestigial thing. That's your palm has to end somewhere, and your fingers have to begin somewhere. So there's got to be some sort of between the fingers of some sort.
そういうこと。それに第三の目以外にも第三視点っていうのもあるし。
Yeah, that's right. And besides the third eye, there's also the third sight part. I will admit, though, what the appendix does isn't really that important, but it still does something. And she said that you closed the bolt with all her might. I presume that means like tightened the bolt, but it uses the same kanji as close. I noticed that, yeah.
OK! これでこっちの作業は完了だね。
Yeah, and she like did the thing where you don't know the torque specs, so you just guess. I'm gonna guess full power. All the ugga. Okay, now we're done here.
疲れた。
I'm tired. Didn't mention her mom. That's interesting. We're just going to save that for later. You stretched. I put my hands on my hips and stretched. Both of us are drenched in sweat. You probably don't care about this, but when it comes to back cracking, I very, 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 very rarely feel my back crack. It's just the way my back is. It doesn't really crack. It does like once every few years. I consider that a good thing. It's really stable. I would do the thing where you pay somebody to crack you. It doesn't seem like a good idea. I also don't have pain, so it's fine. There's something about my body that works is my back. My knee, on the other hand, no. That does pop, and it does hurt. Both. By the way... Actually, it's kind of funky, because my right knee is the one that tends to go bad and inflame the most. The left one is the one that cracks. It's kind of asymmetrical, but... The many pieces of knowledge you showed me earlier are those offensive knowledge? Knowledge for attack?
そうね。あれは攻撃のためでも防御のためでもなく。
Yeah, it is true, isn't it? That wasn't for offense or defense.
何の役にも立たない無駄な知識ね。
That was just stuff I happen to know. It was useless knowledge that wouldn't help you at all.
なのに捨てようと思っても捨てられない。
And yet, even if I wanted to throw it away, I couldn't.
多分頭の根っこのとこにしっかりと溶接されちゃってるんだと思う。
I think it's clear. What? I think it's probably attached firmly to the base of my forehead. But you're the one who stuck it there, right?
とんでもない。
That's outrageous.
犯人は母親よ。
The culprit is my mother. How do you say this? Okasan? It means mother, by the way. Try to grab it though, because I want to put it into Google Translate. So get the romanization. Yeah, it's Okasan. Question mark, which is mom.
そう。私のお母さん、考古学の研究者なの。
That's right, my mother is an archaeological researcher.
主に第三視点とかいう古い概念のことを専門にしてるらしいんだけど、
Then why do you want to do archaeology, though? She mainly specializes in old concepts like the third eye.
とにかく私はちっちゃな頃からオカルトやらなんやらの話を子守歌代わりに聞かされ続けてきたわけよ。
Anyway, ever since I was little, I've been hearing stories about the occult and stuff in place of lullabies. Funny, it's like how it's like in place of lullabies, but some characters have heard them. Sure to like go the other route.
はあ。
You let out a deep, deep sigh. I see. The third perspective. Third point of view. What could it be? Oh, I didn't capture all of it. Wait a second here. If I let it all scroll out. Does it have something to do with the third eye? Oh, what's going on with him? You wouldn't think so, but all prophecies are true. All speculations inside the mind of the amnesiac are true also. Before I could ask, you opened your mouth.
考古学なんて大嫌いだったのに。
I hated archaeology. Then why'd you major in it? 'Cause you don't really hate it, do you? You sighed as she spoke.
気がついたらいつの間にか考古学のある学部に進学してたって何？
What do you mean? Before I knew it, I was going to the department. What do I mean? Before I knew it, I was going to the Department of Archaeology. Just to prove my mom wrong or something. Before I knew it, I had entered the department that specialized in archaeology. Why'd you do that? Your mom... Is that what they call changing a child? No, okay, so this is what Google Translate translates that to. Is a frog's baby a frog?
そんな生優しいもんじゃないと思う。
I don't think it's that kind of thing. It's more that kind of thing than you know, you. You smiled dryly as her shoulders drooped.
もうこれはある種の呪いよ。
This is a kind of curse. Just as you said that, two figures approached.
こっちは終わったぞ。
I'm done over here.
そっちはどうですか？
How about you?
終わったわよ。
It's over. And so a lot of things happened, but the repairs were completed without incident. Once we left the generator room and entered the pipe room, I opened the closed valves. I opened the valves that were closed before the repairs. Then we came back to the generator room again.
さて、それじゃあ起動スイッチを入れるぞ。
Well then, let's turn on the activation switch. Is he going to try to count down from 34 again? They're going to leave that in? They didn't in the Takeshi side, I don't think. Takeshi solemnly declared that in front of the generator switch.
心の準備はできたかな？それではカウントダウンを始めるぞ。
Are you mentally prepared? Well then, let's start the countdown. Maybe they did leave this in the kid's side. Takeshi turned around and looked at me. You, Sarah, and I nodded silently.
50秒前。
50 seconds.
え、50も数えるの？
Okay, so I went for 50 as opposed to 34. And you're counting down from 50?
45秒前。
45 seconds. Why not just a minute at that point? Takeshi ignored her and continued.
くらなり、いくらなんでも長すぎるってば。
Kanari, it's too long.
40、39、38。
Learning numbers with Takeshi. 40. 39. 38. There's before this, yeah. Ira.
37、36、35。
Got it, people? That's how you count. You're more and more irritated, describing you, I presume.
34。
34. Oh, they're making it so that it ends when he gets to 34 instead of starts from 34. Excluding Takeshi, the three of us hit the button at the same time at 34.
こら、勝手にスイッチ入れんなよ。まだ34秒前じゃねえか。
Hey, don't turn it off, turn it on without permission. There's 34 seconds to go. If you had 34 seconds left, anybody would push it. What? If there are 34 seconds left, anyone would press it.
たかだか30秒ちょっとも待てないのか、お前らは。
Can't you guys wait a little over 30 seconds?
待てるか！
No, we can't wait.
こういうのはだな、ある種の儀式というか、形式というか、とにかく非常に大切なことであって。
This kind of thing is kind of a ritual or a formality, or at any rate, something very important. Oh, the lights came on. Okay. Bright light fills every nook and cranny of the room, and they have to, resist the temptation to start singing the Fold stuff. My vision expands in an instant.
17。
She says Junana, which means 17, even though this thing can't pick up that.
Huh?
Huh?
ちょうどさっきのカウントが17秒前の時電気がついたの。
The lights were on when the count was 17 seconds to go.
それがどうかしたの？
What about it?
わかりません。電気がつくまでちょうど17秒だったんですよ。
Don't you understand? It was exactly 17 seconds before the lights went on. You pressed the button 17 seconds before the lights came on. Oh, yeah, I see. I know what Sarah's thinking. It means I should have pushed it at the count of 17, right?
そう。
That's correct.
それは傑作ね。それじゃあクラナリ、カウント17からやり直しましょうか。
That's pretty cheap. Well, then Kuranari, shall we start over from the count of 17?
ち、いいよ別に。
That's fine. Takeshi left the room, dragging his heavy toolbox behind him, as if he no longer had any more energy to be angry. You know, how would he know that that's what Takeshi said? Well, we headed back the way we came. So I forgot if a converse like a discussion 34 and 17 occurred between Takeshi and Sugumi in the remake. That did happen. It's like, how did he know? How did this guy saying he's Takeshi know to do that? Okay, we arrive in front of the now bright androgynous elevator. Androgynous? Does that mean like male? Neutral buoyancy elevator. It's now bright when we arrived at the neutral buoyancy elevator. Now we'll go up as long as you don't have like the junk in it, right? Because it was about the buoyancy to like have them. The frozen tuna greets us with vacant eyes.
はあ、よっこらどっこいしょっと。
Here we go. Or it'll just work how it normally does because the power's back on, actually. Takeshi climbed into the egg and placed the toolbox on the floor.
おっさんみたい。
You're like an old man.
うるせえ。どうせお前に比べりゃおっさんだよ俺は。
He's like, noise. Noise. I'm just an old man compared to you.
ああ、よっこらどっこいしょっと。
Well, he's just a weak man. Here we go. It's supposed to be a hint. He's not really Takeshi, because Takeshi wasn't really that weak. You climbed into the egg and placed the empty-eyed frozen tuna on the floor. I guess we're going to leave the cleaning robot and the potted plant behind.
おばさんみたい。
And whatever you brought. I forgot what that was. You're like an old man. Though Takeshi muttered that, a bolt of lightning shot through the air. Ugh. A merciless right fist sunk into Takeshi's body at lightning speed.
クラナリくん、今なんて言ったのかな。
Karanari-kun, what did you just say?
美人で綺麗なお姉さんだ。
You're so beautiful, One-san. Leaving those words behind, Takeshi collapsed next to the tuna.
ところで先輩、そのマグロどうするんですか？
By the way, senpai, what are you gonna do with that tuna?
マグロってどっちの？
What? Which is the tuna? What? Which one is the tuna? Oh, I think I get it. Okay. Takeshi's standing next to the tuna like a tuna. Or laying next to the tuna.
冷凍マグロです。
The frozen tuna.
正直者の君には両方のマグロをあげよう。
What? I'll give you both the maguro and the tuna for your honesty. What? Some joke about something.
どっちもいりません。
I don't need either.
なんて冗談はさておき、大切な食料なんだから当然食べるでしょう。
Anyway, jokes aside, it's important food, so of course we're gonna eat it, right?
タクシを食べちゃうんですか？
You're going to eat Takeshi-chan?
はい、そこボケない。
Yes, that is not stupid. You think, well, does she mean no, that's stupid? No, yes, that is not stupid. It's nigh. Bokeh nigh. In the midst of that exchange, I pressed the button to close the panel door. Then I pressed the 1 button. I was gonna have a real time with that kobuto. Come on, try something. Okay. Google Translate time. With the gurgling sound, air is pumped into the ballast tanks under the floor. From something. Somehow. Eventually, the egg slowly begin to surface. Why is Tsugumi, like, waiting? When I returned to the break room, Sora and Tsugumi were waiting for me. I guess Sora and Tsugumi were having a weird conversation in here, which you wouldn't know the details. Which would be interesting to know the details of, but we don't get to know. It's all these weird conversations you'd think that Tsugumi would have, like, where you can't see her and you don't know what they are.
皆さん、本当にご苦労様でした。
Thank you for all your hard work. Tsugumi was in the top of the elevator, though, in the original, right? She was just, like, standing there at the top of the elevator. Remember how the exchange went down with that one? I know on the Takeshi side, she just, like, move. Like, she's coming up out of the elevator. Takeshi did the same mistake I did. We didn't realize, oh, wait, we just turned the power back on. The EI elevator will just work like normal, and I don't have to, like, you know, put the right weight in, and so Tsugumi. And so it's like he comes up first, gets out of the elevator. It's like, I have to go back, has to go back out and get Tsugumi. And then the elevator just comes back up with Tsugumi in it. And then Tsugumi just like, move! But I forgot what happens in the remake. Sora greets me with a smile. Tsugumi just slightly glanced at us. And coughs. Oh, you're all carrying the tuna, right? However, Tsugumi noticed that we were holding a tuna and spewed.
倉成さんの姿が見当たらないのですが。
Oh, they kept this line. I don't see Kuranari-san anywhere.
倉成？ああ、倉成ならまだマグロになってるんじゃないかしら。
Oh, Kuranari? Oh, Kuranari's probably still turned into a tuna.
倉成さんがマグロに？
Kuranari turned into a tuna?
もしかしてそのマグロ、大丈夫ですか？倉成さん。
Oh, they made it a little better. Okay, I get it. Maybe that tuna? Are you all right, Kuranari-san? Flustered, Sora ran over to the tuna we were holding.
倉成さんがマグロに。
Kuranari-san, tuna. This is like onions flying in Australia. Maybe Sora really thought that Takeshi had turned into a tuna?
一体どうしたらいいのでしょう。
What in the world should I do?
お取り込み中申し訳ないんだが。
Sorry to interrupt, but, just then Takeshi, who had been playing along, appeared. え？
俺の方こそどうしたらいいのでしょうって感じなんですが。
I'm the one who feels like, what should I do?
倉成さんが2人？
There are two Kuranari-sans? Sora stared back and forth between the tuna and Takeshi in surprise for a while. I washed my clothes, which were drenched in sweat, and took a shower. I came back to life. When I left the shower room, I saw everyone making a fuss around the table. That's Tsugumi, what's going on? Tsugumi's like, hey, I told you not to talk to me. Why are you asking me what's going on? Hey, Tsugumi, what's everyone making a fuss about? Tsugumi goes, I don't know, but you're about to be part of it. Grabs him and throws him at him. That was a terrible deep cut. That was terrible. I asked Tsugumi, who was sitting in a nearby chair.
知らない。
I don't know. Well, the first part. Don't you care?
別に興味ないわ。
No, not really interested. Tsugumi closed her eyes. I decided to go see everyone.
持ってきたのはいいけど、どうするんだこれ。
It's fine that I brought it with me, but what are we going to find that you brought it with you, but what are we gonna do with this?
さあ、
Talk about the tuna, right?
とにかくさばかないといけませんね。
Anyway, we have to deal with it. It'll, like, rot and get all stinky and, you know... At least put it back in the freezer.
倉成さん2号をさばいちゃうんですか？
Kuranari-san, are you gonna do something about number 2? Hey, what are all you guys doing?
お、少年。実はな、さすがにみんなも空腹が限界なんで、こいつを食べようって話をしてたんだ。
Oh, you young man, the truth is everyone's hunger is at its limit, so we're talking about eating this. Which Sora still thinks is Takeshi. In the center of the table sat the frozen tuna. Although it might be a little slushy now. Like the skin part might be a little bit thawed. It stares at us with vacant eyes. Man, imagine cleaning the big tuna. It'd be really stinky. But we can't eat it like this. We gotta clean it first.
そう、誰かが料理をしないといけない。だが男の俺はあまりその手のスキルはない。
By the way, cleaning a fish is if you're not familiar with this, is a euphemism for disemboweling it and pulling the head off. Because no one really likes to eat the fish organ meats. Someone has to cook it, but as a man, I don't have any skills like that. That is so East Asian.
少年も実はすごい料理の達人かもしれないが、その知識は今は失われている。
It's also very unoriginal because Takeshi did all the cooking in the original. Anyway, the boy might actually be a master chef, even though he's a man, so he shouldn't know how to cook. But then I guess if you're a chef, but he lost his knowledge. What's up with that?
だが幸いここには女子が4人もいる。そこで誰に調理をしてもらうか相談をしていたってわけだ。
You just realize that both the chefs and AI the Somniophiles are men. Right. But fortunately, there are 4 girls here. So we were discussing who should cook it. Well, Yu has the character whose first syllable of her name is Yu trope of she can't cook anything. Sara has a different set of skills. Sora would know how to do it, but I don't know. She's all like thinking it's a person.
ちょっと倉成、いつそんな相談してたのよ。
Hey, Kuranari, where did you get that advice?
そうだったんですか？
Is that so?
私も4人の中に入るのでしょうか？
Am I one of the 4 people? Yeah, interesting. Are you including Tsugumi or not? Like, would the 4 include Tsugumi or Sora? Would Tsugumi know how to cook the tuna? I would say, well, she could do something with it.
私を数に入れないで。
She wouldn't be stumped. For the peanut gallery, Tsugumi's like, don't count me. I've been secretly paying attention to this. Tsugumi raised her voice in protest.
というわけで、意見が全然まとまらないから、ここは少年に決めてもらうことにしよう。
Tsugumi, you're Spock. You know how to do everything. Why don't you cook the tuna? Therefore, we can't come to an agreement at all. So let's have the boy decide for us. I'm gonna decide. I look over at everyone.
ちょっと私は絶対に嫌だからね。
Wait, I absolutely do not want to do this. Yu has a really bad look on her face.
私自信ないな。
I don't have much confidence in myself. Sarah doesn't seem very confident.
料理ってどうやるのでしょう。
How do you cook? Can't you just like instantly Google stuff, Sora? With perfect parsing and perfect searching? Even though she said that, the truth is... No, I don't think that's the case. Sora is natural and serious, after all. Tsugumi is snoring, right? I don't think Tsugumi would ever cook for me. It's like, it's not that she doesn't know how. She's just I have a feeling Tsugumi will never cook. Not that she doesn't know how, she's just mean like that. In that case, we'll have to narrow it down to you and Sarah. Okay, the top choice is Sarah, and the bottom choice is you. But, you, I'm begging you. I'll ask Sarah. So, I think either way, you don't know what to do with the tuna, and you just kind of like throw it in the trash. That's what happens in the original game, so I assume that's going to happen in the remake. But we have to have dialogue for one of these. And I don't know if the answer is do not make the person you don't want to, whose route you want to do, mad at you, or it's just give that person more attention no matter what way you do it. I'm going to do you, I'm begging you. It'll be funnier after all. Although I might be wrong. Okay, you, could you do it for me? Onegai.
え、私？
Ah, me? That's right, you.
なんで私なの？
Why me? Huh? Now that you mention it, I wonder why.
嫌よ嫌よも好きのうちって言うからな。だからじゃないか。
I don't like it. I don't like it. You don't like her, isn't that why? What? They say even if you say no, you still like it. Isn't that right? I can't believe I just had to read that and post me reading that on the internet. I won't edit that out though. Okay.
どういう意味よ。
What do you mean?
バラエティ番組なんかで嫌がるネタ振りをして指名されるみたいな感じとか？
It's like pretending to do something you don't like on a parade show and then being nominated. Okay, I don't know how that works, but whatever.
私は芸人じゃない。
I'm not a performer. And so, in the end, you reluctantly ended up cooking.
まあ、どうなっても知らないわよ。
I don't care what happens anymore. By the way, what do you have?
ああ、これダイヤモンドカッターよ。工具箱から持ってきたの。
Oh, this is a diamond cutter. I bought it from the toolbox.
お前そんなん使って料理する気なのか？
Are you planning on using that to cook?
だってしょうがないでしょ。こんなの普通の包丁が太刀打ちできると思うの？
Like welding torch cooking? I can't help it. Do you think we're gonna be able to make a normal knife like this? You know, it can't be helped. Do you think an ordinary knife can stand up to something like this?
確かにマグロを解体するときは刀みたいな包丁を使うけどな。
It's true that when dismantling a mug, use a knife like a katana. A mug? Okay, you mean a tuna. Yeah, we dismantle a tuna.
それじゃ行くわよ。
Well then, let's go. Oh, they made a little whining sound for the... Okay. That was not... You did not get tinnitus. That was actually part of the audio. The sound of the cutter slicing through the tuna echoes through the cramped room. You swung the diamond cutter with demonic intensity. I mean, this thing is kind of thawing at the process, right? So would the blood just kind of go everywhere? And the sound of it being cut sounded like a tuna scream. It is true, when you clean a fish and you do like the cut, it's like...
できた。
Yeah, it's done. There are a pile of tuna slices that look like bricks on the table. You forgot about the gut pulling.
さすが先輩。
That's senpai for you.
すごいですね。これが料理というものですか？
Amazing, is this what they call cooking? Well, you didn't really cook anything, but again, this is Japan, so you don't have to cook the fish right. Tsugumi's in the frame just for eye candy. That's kind of amazing. Although, my OCR thing is over top of her head.
これは豪快だ。まさに大雑把。まさに男の料理。
This is hearty. Hearty. It is very rough, very manly dish.
クラナリくん、今なんて言ったのかな。
Wow, this CG was used way out of its original context. If you remember where in the original game the CG was used, it was in the Coco route. It was in the golden ending. I forgot the context. I think like Takeshi woke you up in the middle of the night or something. Kurenari-kai, what did you just say? I don't know how this. Okay, in the Western world, that would actually not be an insult. Innocent Takeshi jumped back to the wall in a single bound as if a learning ability had kicked in.
あんたもクラナリさん2号みたいに解体してあげましょうか。
Why don't I take you apart like Kurenari-san number 2? Takeshi shook his head from side to side at an incredible speed.
反省してる？
Are you reflecting on your actions? Yes, that sizzling effect is part of the audio. Takeshi bobbed his head up and down at incredible speed.
だったらあんたは責任を取って残さず全て食べること。いいわね。
In that case, you should take responsibility and eat everything without leaving anything behind. Takeshi smiled stiffly. Those eyes were as empty as Kurenari-san number 2's. Phew, I ate it. You ate raw tuna? Finally, a proper meal. After dinner, I was relaxing.
ほれ、少年。
Hey, boy. I turned around at Takeshi's voice, and suddenly a can of juice came flying at me. Thank you. I can't help but express my gratitude. Takeshi was throwing a can of juice at everyone.
ほれ、さら。
Okay, we're gonna do Sora.
ほれ、you.
You.
Thank you.
She says thank you, but like, thank you because she has an accent.
ほれ、つぐみ。
Sugumi silently caught it.
ほれ、そら。
And he goes right to her. Eh? We have to go through this again on the other side of the game, unfortunately. The can Takeshi threw crashed into the wall behind Sora and then gushed out.
あれ
Huh? What? Sora didn't take it. No, she couldn't accept it. The carbon dioxide gushed out and hit the sky, or it hit Sora. The spray pierces through the form of Sora. Takeshi froze on the spot, looking surprised. I also, nor more accurately, I was confused, not knowing what was going on. In the midst of the confusion, for some reason, I felt that was only natural.
あ、いや、あれだよ。今のは錯覚だな。
Well, you know, that was just an illusion.
ちゃんと渡すつもりで投げたんだけど、おかしいな。手が滑っちゃったのかな。
I threw it with the intention of giving it to you properly. That's strange. Did my hand slip?
すみません。ですが、おかしくはないんですし、錯覚でもありませんので、安心してください。倉成さん。
I'm sorry, but it's not strange. It's not an illusion. So don't worry, Kuranari-san.
でも、炭酸吹いてる。かかってる。服は大丈夫か？
But it's carbonated. It's blowing carbon dioxide. It's on you. Are your clothes okay?
はい。
Yes.
そうだよな。濡れてないし、シミにもなってないし。
Yeah, you're not wet, and you're not even stained.
もしかして、倉成さん、ご存知なかったんですか？
Could it be that Kuranari-san didn't know? Sora was fidgeting bashfully.
そら、お前って一体。
Sora, what are you? You suddenly burst out laughing.
倉成、面白いから黙って見てたけど。
Kuranari, I've been watching silently because it's interesting, but...
あんた本当に全然知らなかったのね。
I'm having a bit of an issue here. Okay. You really didn't know at all?
何をだよ。
What are you talking about? Looking around, Takeshi was the only one other than me who was surprised. Sora had a somewhat dubious expression on her face, but she seemed to have a good grasp of the situation. Tsugumi was just glaring at us.
空の正体。
Why is she even sitting in the room? Like, the true nature of Sora.
空の正体？
Sora's true nature.
空、悪いんだけど、もう一遍自己紹介してあげて。
Sora, I'm sorry, but could you introduce yourself again?
今度は設定じゃなく、本当のやつね。
This time, not the setting, right? Not your set one, but your real one. Yeah, this time it's not a setup, it's the real deal.
はい、わかりました。
Yes, understood.
私は茜ヶ崎空
I am Akanegasaki Sora.
LM9S16 と呼ばれている並列指向型コンピューターの人工知能 AI プログラムです。
The artificial intelligence of using a anyway, LMQS16. Artificial intelligence by a parallel thinking computer called I'm an AI program. Google Translate will probably do a lot better with this. Parallel thinking computer artificial intelligence called LEMQS16, an AI program.
このレミューで人と機械とのインターフェースとしてここレミューで作られました。
I was made here in Lemu as an interface between humans and machines.
と言われても、なんだ
You say that, but what?
簡単に言えば空はお客とのコミュニケーションに特化されたコンピューターってとこね。
To put it simply, Sora is a computer specialized for communicating with customers.
コンピューターで、この空がか俺にはとても機械には見えないぞ。
Computer? Wait, this Sora? She doesn't look like a computer to me.
この姿は私であって私ではありません。
This form is me, but not me.
倉成さんが認識している私の容姿はミラージュによって実現されているものです。
Kurenari-san is aware of my appearance as realized. Is aware that my appearance is realized by Mirage.
やっぱりミラージュだったんだ。
So it was Mirage after all.
でもここまですごいのは見たことないよ。
But I've never seen anything like this. It's amazing.
レミューの自慢の出し物の一つだからね。
It's one of Lemu's most programs Lemu is most proud of.
あ、だから空は停電の間いなくなっちゃってたんだ。
So that's why Sora was gone during the blackout.
ええ、どうもご心配をおかけしましたね。
Thank you for worrying about me.
ミラージュ
Mirage?
視神経に直接視覚情報信号を送り、視覚を錯覚させ映像を見せる画像表示システム。その通称がミラージュと呼ばれています。
An image display system that sends visual information signals directly to the optic nerves, illusions of vision. Its common name is Mirage.
簡単に説明すると、目から入った視覚情報って脳で処理するために電気信号に変換されてるわけよ。その電気信号に介入して本来そこにないものをそこにあるよう見せるすごいシステムってことよ。
We barely fit this line in the text box. To put it simply, the visual information coming from your eye is converted into electrical signals in order to process it with the brain. It's an amazing system that intervenes in those electrical signals to make it look like something that isn't there is there.
ミラージュはみんなが今つけてるイヤホンから作動しているわ。
The Mirage is activated from the earbuds everyone is wearing right now.
空の声もイヤホンからだから、これを外しちゃうと空とコミュニケーションできなくなるから気をつけてね。
Sora's voice is coming from the earbuds too, so if you remove them, you won't be able to communicate with Sora. So be careful.
まったく聞いていられないわね。
Segumi's gonna complain. You're saying all the same things again. Honestly, I can't stand listening to you. In the midst of that conversation, Segumi turned away from the others, looking irritated.
あ、そうだ、ユウ。
Oh, that's right, you.
何を倉内さん1号。
What is it, Kurinari-san number 1?
俺は1号じゃない。
We've already, like, chopped up and ate Kurinari-san number 2. I'm not number 1.
で、発電室の扉を開けるとき、カードを使ってたろ。
So, when we opened the door to the generator room, you used a card.
それがないと困るってのも、現状じゃ何かと問題なんじゃないか。
Why in this side of the plot do I not get that card? Isn't it a problem if we don't have it?
それもそうかも。
Yeah, so just don't kill me, okay, Takeshi? That might be right.
空、ちょいと。
So, give me a sec. Wait,
なんでしょう。
what is it?
管理区域とかのロックって全て解除できる？
Can you unlock all the locks in the controlled areas?
そうですね。ちょっとお待ちいただけますか？上に確認してみます。
That's right. Could you wait a minute? I'll check on top.
上に確認って、会場と通信できるようになったのか？
You can communicate with the surface by checking up on it?
違うわよ。空はあくまでシステムの端末っていうか、セキュリティを含め全てのシステムを管理する上位のプログラムがあって。
That's not it. SOAR is just a terminal of the system, or rather a higher level program that manages all systems, including security.
簡単に言うと、同じ会社に上司と下っ端がいて、下っ端が何かしようとした時勝手にできないので、上司の承認が必要になるってことかな。
To put it simply, when there's a boss and underling in the same company, the underlings try to do something they can't do on their own, so they need their boss's approval, I guess.
許可が下りましたので、最高位のセキュリティエリア以外でしたら自由に入れるようになりましたよ。
I've been granted permission, so you're free to enter anything other than the highest level security area, which would be Himmel.
ありがとね、空。
Thank you, Sora. Hajime, not Hajime, and then Sora and... Okay, this is just a mess. And so... Oh. Under Sora's direction, my friends and I headed to the lower levels Vitae stock. The draining of the spot that blocked our path the day before had been finished. We opened many hatches. Into the shock water. We proceeded down many passages. We climbed several stairs. So I didn't want to write this whole part again. overcame many difficulties. You can read about this on the Takeshi side.
それじゃあ開けるぞ。ポチッとな。
Okay, I'll open it. Button push noise.
みんな無事か？
Everyone okay?
なんとか。
Somehow. I'm fine.
忍法水走りの術。にんにん。
Ninja water running jutsu. I guess they decide we're going to enforce that you do the Takeshi side first before you do the kid side, so that we don't have to write stuff as the kid. Is that why they did it? And then we arrived at Zoite-stock.
ここからはプラントエリアです。
Here is from here are the plant areas. Sarah started explaining as we walked. Kid said, "What's the plant area?"
海底で採れた水産資源や鉱物資源を生成したり加工する工場があるエリアです。
It's an area where there are factories that refine and process fish and mineral resources caught at the bottom of the ocean.
ここのブロックにはメタンハイドレードのプラントがあります。
There is a methane hydrate plant in this block. Methane hydrate? For some reason, I felt like I'd heard that mantra somewhere before. Huh. Oh yeah, I read the Takeshi side. I couldn't help but think, what was methane hydrate again?
メタンハイドレードってなんだ？
What is methane hydrate? Oh. Takeshi asked the question instead.
メタンハイドレードというのはメタン分子を水分子の網が包んで氷のような結晶の形を
Methane hydrate is formed by a net of water molecules enveloping methane molecules in the shape of ice crystals.
そら、そんな説明じゃ分かりづらいわよ。要は、海の底に氷として埋まっている天然ガスのこと。燃える氷のことよ。
Sora, that explanation is hard to understand. In other words, natural gas buried as ice at the bottom of the sea. Ice that burns? Basically, it's natural gas buried as ice at the bottom of the ocean. Burning ice.
それじゃあ少年、バミューダトライアングルって知ってる？
Again. Do you know what the... Kid, do you... So then, kid, do you know what the Bermuda Triangle is? You suddenly brings up the topic. Bermuda Triangle? Bermuda Triangle. I don't know if I've heard of it or not. The disappearance of ships and planes in the Bermuda Sea? For some reason, that information seems to be in the corner of my memory.
そうそれ。 消えた飛行機や船はどこに消えたのか。4次元、異次元の裂け目に消えたとか言われているけど。
That's right. Where did the planes and ships disappear to? It said that they disappeared into a rift in the fourth dimension, another dimension.
あれは地震か海流の影響で溶け出たメタンガスの仕業よ。
That's the work of the methane gas melted by earthquakes or ocean currents. Really?
下から湧き上がる細かい泡って船の浮力を奪うって知ってる？
Do you know that fine bubbles that well up from below steal the ship's buoyancy? Oh, because it makes the water less dense?
だから溶けてガスになったメタンガスの泡が船を水没させたのよ。
That's why the bubbles of methane gas that, well, melted when the ice melted, turned into gas, submerged the ship. Then what about the planes? The planes aren't floating in the ocean.
そっちは空中に浮いたメタンガスの中に飛行機が突っ込んで一気に引火爆発したんじゃないかしら。
You think an airplane plunged into the methane gas floating in the air and ignited all at once? Really?
そうよ。こうしてまた一つオカルト現象は否定され消えていくのよ。
That's right. There's one more occult phenomenon that's being denied and disappearing. And thus, once again, occult phenomena are denied and disappear. Okay, that's why she's more verbose this time. Because he's like, I have this alternative explanation to it being occult phenomena in that it was caused by methane hydrate. Whereas her mom was just like, that's just an idea. I don't know. Because even this, like, sciencey idea, right, sounds absolutely absurd.
いやー、すっきりした。
I feel so much better. Yes, yes. Suddenly, inside the words, right, wrong conjugate, that you said, a certain word caught my attention. Or certain words, because no plurals in Japanese, caught my attention. The words are okay, so for some reason this happened. Methane gas, submersion, and explosion or ignition. Okay. I felt something ominous in that. Well, yeah, it wasn't methane hydrate exploding gonna happen at some point. It does something that like messes up the oxygen, and then yeah. After that, we stopped by the water supply plant tank facility to resupply. Don't really need to give the details this time because we've restructured the game that forced you to do the Takeshi side first, so you don't need these details. Then we found food in the warehouse and the nearby what? Eggplants. The nearby food processing plant area. Okay. So you found food in the food processing plant. Using the ingredients we found, the others and I ate our second meal after the tuna. Meals easily cooked with microwaves and toasters are lined up on the table. It's been a while since I ate tuna. Huh? It's been quite a while since I had eaten the tuna, so I was feeling reasonably empty.
それでは皆さん、いただきます。
Okay, everyone, and then I guess it's translating itadakimasu as let's eat.
いただきます。
Same thing, it's like let's eat.
いただきます。
Itadakimasu. Yeah. He's very grunty, apparently. A lot of throat noise. The others and I, who are more hungry than I thought, continued to move their mouths almost silently.
お
Takeshi goes, ooh. Oh, this is where Takeshi has to interact with Sora. That's when Takeshi's surprised voice rang out. When I looked at Takeshi, his eyes were wide open, staring into empty space. Takeshi is weird. I thought as I continued eating.
食べた食べた。ごちそうさん。
I ate it, I ate it, I ate it. What's Guso-san? Thank you. Okay.
さすがに食いすぎたかな。
Maybe I ate too much.
もうお腹いっぱい。
I'm full already. The kid says, it might be painful.
ゲップ。
Gep probably doesn't have a translation. It might be hiccuping, which is like a sign you ate too much. Or enough, depending on what your standards are. The mountain of food we prepared had been devoured. Even if the food was gone, everyone wouldn't be able to move for a while. Very Japanese thing. I'm American. If I'm super full of food, what happens? I have to do what I have to do anyway. No excuses. Maybe it's... And since I'm kind of an American, I kind of am always like that. No. I'm like that often, though. Maybe it's because of the satisfaction of being able to eat, but I feel like my nerves had melted away and my exhaustion is suddenly showing.
はあ。しかしこれじゃちょっと動けそうもないわね。
But I don't think I'll be able to move like this.
では皆さんが休息されている間に脱出ルートの安全を再確認しておきますね。
Well, then I'll double check the safety of the escape route once everyone's rested.
それじゃ
Or while everyone's
これから
rested.
1時間食休みにしないか。
Well, then why don't we take a break from eating from eating for the next hour. Take a lunch break for the next hour, okay. Everyone nodded silently at Takeshi's suggestion. Except for Tsugumi. And this is where you explore and you find the virtual aquarium, right? If you're Takeshi, I don't know what the kid does. I walk aimlessly without deciding where to go. Wonder what the kid stumbles on. Maybe just for continuity, they can stumble on the virtual aquarium as well, maybe at a different time than Takeshi does. Staying still would only make my stomach ache, so I went out for a walk. To work up an appetite? You mean like to work down? I don't know. The translators like to say I went on a walk to work up an appetite, but it's really to make it so I'm not like engorged. My stomach's finally calmed down. I passed by the control room. I remember the exchange between you and Sora with the Master Key. Or about the Master Key. Come to think of it, is the lock unlocked? I decided to try going inside. Okay, are we going to find you in there? Trying to find out stuff about her parents, right? As expected, the door wasn't locked. When I went inside...
なんでダメなのよ、トニー。
Why can't I do it? Okay, I have to do some cooking here. So I'm going to pause the encoding, but before I do that, I'm going to drop a save file. So if I have to... Which is, I found is a good idea before you do an encoding pause. Just in case I have to go, oh, no, actually stop encoding. And then I might come back and keep going. We have another long conversation with you to do here. Okay, I'm back.
これでどうだ、うりゃ。
How about this? And then it's yeah. Gashan, which I guess is like a crash on onomatopoeia. In the control room's console, you encountered a scene. What? Where she was hit with a hearty drop kick? Okay, this makes no sense. There's some mixing up of things going on here in this translator. At the console in the control room, you witnessed a spectacular heel drop. There might be some ambiguity here, and it should be... I saw you doing a heel drop, but we can go to the next one for more context. Because there weren't you, who would be the one who would be doing it? Oh, it's another. So yes, you did the heel drop because that's what the potentially the modification of the CG shows. I don't remember the CG in the original showing Yu's foot. That wasn't part of it. She was holding the chair above her head. Anyway, another other way to use a CG from the original in a completely different context. So, if you remember the original game, this was how this worked was in the kids side. I forgot why Sora wasn't there. Yeah, I think Sora, for some reason Sora was still with Takeshi and Tsugumi, and so it was just Sora, you, and the kid in the control room, which is where they are now. But it was in the control room of the original game, which is not the place in the original game where you would try to look for information about Yu's father. She would do that in the security room. And she was just trying to figure out what was going on with Lemu, right? She'd figure out what was going on with the disaster. And so she was trying to use the computer to try to get the computer to tell her. And she couldn't figure it out, and that's how the CG showed up. Although she was frustrated trying to find information about her father from the computer in a security room, she was much more calm about that process. They decided to redo that so that this was actually part of her trying to find information on her parents.
なんでよ、なんで立ち上がらないわけ?
Why? Why won't you stand up? What does stand up mean? I don't know. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I mean, I see, this kanji does mean up, so.
どうなってんのよ、一体!
What the hell is going on? You look like she was about to go on a rampage. No, she was actually going on a rampage, but...
ちょっと待ってくださいよ、ナッキ先輩!
Wait a second, Nakyu-senpai. What are you going to do if you raise your chair?
もちろん、叩きつけるのよ!
Of course I'm gonna slam it down.
こんなポンコツマシンなんか、ぶっ壊してやる! ぶっ壊してやる! ぶっ壊してやる!
We don't really know if the computer is robust to that. I could probably slam a chair onto my computer and probably do nothing to it, but I wouldn't try. I'm going to destroy this junk machine. I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to destroy it.
落ち着いて! とにかく落ち着いてください!
Calm down. Anyway, please calm down.
これが落ち着いていられますかっつーの!
How can I stay calm?
電源入れても立ち上がんないのよ!
Even if I turn it on, it won't turn on.
これってどういうことなの?
What does this mean?
こんなことってありえる?
Probably how is this possible? Now, how could something like this happen? I presume stand up might be translated as boot. She just can't get the computer to even boot.
だから電源入れただけじゃダメなんですってば!
I told you, you can't just turn it on.
わけわかんないよ! 舐めてるとしか思えない!
I don't get it. I just think you're underestimating me. But you don't have to destroy anything.
うるさいもうけ
Noise! Sarah pushed you down and pulled her away from the console. Voice acted breathing. Yu's eyes were bloodshot like a mad dog's. From that fantastic fit, there was a face far removed from hers. What's wrong? Yu's out of breath and can't talk.
実はナッキュ先輩ここの端末を使おうとしてたみたいなんですが
Actually, Naki-senpai was trying to use the terminal here. Instead, Sora explained the situation to me.
電源を入れてもシステムが立ち上がらなかったらしくて
When she turned it on, the system didn't seem to boot. That's why she was going to beat it to a pulp? Oh, so that's why she was... Okay, so Google Translate does... That's what censored her off. You know that expression.
誰がブチ切れてたですって
Let's see what Google Translate has to say about this. Okay, so you could translate it, who was out of breath. You could also probably translate it, who was censored off.
ナッキュ先輩どうどう
What do you think, Naki-senpai? I mean, I've had that happen where I press the power button on my computer, it doesn't boot. It was due to like a bad piece of hardware in there that was like making it not pass the boot checklist. I didn't like smash it, but again, I'm not a fictional character. A real human being. It was kind of frustrating though. Sarah tried to calm you down. But why didn't it boot?
ここの端末を使う場合 ID が必要なんですでもナッキュ先輩 ID カード持っていなくって
If you're going to use this terminal, you need an ID card. But we don't have a Nakyu-senpai ID card.
ほんとよねここでバイトしてるってのに制御室の端末が使える ID カードを支給しないなんてね
It's like you need the card to even log in. It's kind of like a CAC reader. It's true, isn't it? Even though I'm an employee here, I presume, they don't give you, they cannot give you an ID card that you can use to use the control room terminal. Okay, Go Translate says, "You're right, I'm working here, but they don't give me an ID card to use the terminals in the control room." No, maybe it's not supplied because you're an employee? Weird thought. Okay, I know it says that's what comes to mind, but we're gonna try to fix it. Now, I don't really get what the kid's thinking. You're not supposed to be messing around on the computers if you're an employee. That's what he's thinking. These words came to my mind.
ああ、せっかくここまで来たけど意味がなかったのかな。
I've come all this way, but I wonder if it was meaningless. You look terribly depressed. I tried to say something to cheer you up. That's when...
ならばここは拙者の出番でござるな。ニンニン。
In that case, it's my turn. Nin nin.
拙者がナッキュ先輩のために ID カードを見つけ出してくるでござるよ。
I will find an ID card for you, Nakyu Senpai.
マヨが
Mayo?
拙者ユー殿には第四があるがゆえ、その恩義に応えるのも忍びの定め。
I'm indebted to you. You don't know. So it is my duty to repay your kindness.
ありがとうマヨ。
Thank you, Mayo.
ナッキュ先輩。
Nakyu Senpai. They hug each other tightly. They're gonna start this joking early. I watched the scene, the woman's friendship with warm eyes.
マヨ。ナッキュ先輩。
What are you doing here? That's when Takeshi showed up.
なんだかものすごい状態になってるようだけど邪魔するぞ。
I'm sorry, but you seem to be in a terrible state. I'm going to get in the way. You and Sar hurriedly pulled away.
みんな一旦魚の牧場に集まってくれないか。
Everyone, could you gather at the fish ranch for a while?
あれもう1時間経ったっけ。
Has it already been an hour?
いやまだだ。
No, not yet.
それに魚の牧場に集まるってなんでなんですか。
Now, why are we gathering at the fish ranch? Because that's how the script goes.
それはだな。
That's...
実は空がドリットシュトックへのルートの安全を調べていた時に有毒ガスの漏出を発見したんだ。
And you can't do it in the control room because... Actually, when Sora was investigating the safety of the route to Dritte stock, she discovered a toxic gas leak. Then we can't move.
まあ待て。今空が 工業用の排気システムを利用して有毒ガスを除去できるようにしたんだが、除去できるまでに明日まで時間がかかりそうなんだ。
Well, wait. Sora just used the industrial exhaust system to get rid of the toxic gas. But it looks like it'll take some time until tomorrow to get rid of it. I don't remember this from the original. Anyway, there's pump problems too, but anyway.
だから今日はこの回で休むことにして。
So we'll rest on this floor for today.
これから魚の牧場でみんなで闇夜にをしようぜ。
Let's all do Yamioni at the fish ranch. Yamioni?
闇夜に
Yeah.
闇夜に
Why? They raised their voices at the same time. Because she convinced everyone to do it, I guess. A really shadowed version of everyone's face. I mean, Sora's the one that sticks out the most, but everyone has it. Takeshi led me to the dimly lit place. Why'd you agree to this? Something drifts through the darkness. Upon closer inspection, there was a lot of fish swimming around the pond. Yeah, I guess if you don't have Coco to prompt this, then you have to do it, like, really contrivedly. For a moment, I had the illusion of being thrown into the ocean and was startled. It's not cold, and you're still feeling normal buoyancy, so... That's funny. What's that supposed to be, though? Waves spread out around my feet as I hesitated. Yeah, reason why it's funny is I know it doesn't say Tsugumi, it says Tsumugi. But Tsumugi is also a name. So, yeah, that's what makes that funny. I think it just means like the ocean or something, though. When I look around, Sora's eyes were wide too. What is here? Which is like, what is this place? As if to answer my question, Sora's voice reached my ears.
ようこそ。ここは魚の牧場。人工的に作られた魚礁です。ここにはたくさんの魚が集まっています。そして様々な魚が隠れています。
Welcome to the fish ranch, a man-made fishing reef. There are a lot of fish gathered here, and there are all kinds of fish hidden in here. Okay. I see. It looks like this is a facility where you can experience the inside of a fishing reef. The fish that swim are probably made by Mirage. The fishing reef blocks are positioned like a maze. In fact, I'm sure I'll be able to enjoy it like a maze, huh? In fact, I imagine it could be enjoyed in a maze-like way.
ところでユウ、この階層にも加減圧室ってあるんだよな。
By the way, there's a compression chamber on this floor too, right?
あるわよ。
There is.
じゃあ、今日の寝床の確認も取れたし、これから全員参加の闇鬼を開始するぞ。
Now that we've confirmed where we're sleeping today, let's start Yamioni, where everyone will be participating. Except I doubt Tsugumi will actually participate the second time because Koko's not here. Everyone, Tsugumi's not here.
つぐみは。
Tsugumi...
私も参加するわ。
I'll join you. I don't know, I got bribed with enough of something. Although we haven't really established in any of these games anything that Tsugumi particularly likes to eat or whatever. I looked in the direction of the voice and saw Tsugumi sitting on a bench.
もううんざり。
I'm sick of this.
私までおかしくなりそうだわ。
I don't know why we're doing this, but I'm gonna play along because I don't know. I feel like I'm going to go crazy. Also.
だけど、仕方ないわね。約束だし。
But it can't be helped. It's a promise. The plot thickens. So they are doing it like she worked out a deal. Okay. It could be possible that she got actually threatened with something, which is interesting. I mean, they didn't have any. In the original game, they didn't show any evidence that I threatened Tsugumi with something. But, I mean, whatever it takes. Mumbling to herself, Tsugumi listlessly stood up from the bench.
どう？これで気が済んだ？
Well, in order to follow the script, wouldn't you just, like, intentionally fall asleep on the bench? How is it? Are you satisfied now? Takeshi flinched, pierced by the sharp glint in Tsugumi's eyes.
ああ。
で、その闇鬼ってのは何なのよ。
So, what's this Yamioni thing?
早い話が暗いところでやる缶蹴りだ。
To put it simply, you put a can in a dark place. I don't know what the opener is. You don't have a can opener, but you put a can in a dark place.
だったら缶蹴りでいいんじゃないですか？
Then why don't we just use a can?
闇鬼なんだ。
It's Yamioni.
でもこう暗くっちゃ誰がどこにいるかはもちろん蹴る缶だって見えないわよ。
But if it's this dark, of course you can't see who's where, or even the kicking can, or even kick the can, probably. Let alone, in this, but it's so dark you can't even see who's kicking the can, let alone where they are.
そこでこのお宝箱だ。
And that's where this treasure chest comes in. So here is this treasure chest. Oh, is it a bunch of flashlights? The rope Takeshi pulled out was just a cardboard box. Rope? It's probably just chest. This kanji's wrong.
ピカピカポカーン
What does that mean? No, that's not translatable.
懐中電灯
Okay, I'm gonna capture it just so I can get it in the clipboard. The translator's not gonna be able to deal with it as is. I have to like chop it down. So it's Kai Chu Dento. So this little A probably isn't there. It's probably just Kai. Chu, it's probably just Chu. Den is probably just Den. So it's probably something like let's go, but it's unclear. Takeshi pulled out a flashlight. Flashlights with a mysterious sound. Okay, maybe they don't know what he means either.
懐中電灯を使って闇鬼ってのもオツだよな
Using the Kaichu Dinto, it would be cool to call it Yamioni, right? I don't get it. Takeshi handed out flashlights to everyone. And so, it was decided to Yamioni will be carried out without incident. But doesn't this time the kid end up being the Oni? It's like... First, we'll decide who is the Oni by playing rock, paper, scissors.
せーの、チッケピッ
I don't know what that means, and it probably will not be translatable.
くわ負けた
I lost. Takeshi suddenly lost to one of them.
じゃ、倉成が最初の鬼ってことで決定
It's decided that Kuranari will be the first Oni,
決定
as usual.
頑張ってくださいね
Do your best. Everyone's smiling at Takeshi. We haven't decided how Sora's going to deal with this, but I presume she's sticking to Sara. Takeshi looked like he couldn't be more frustrated. But that's how the script goes, though. He should be happy. I guess the script is he's going to look frustrated. Yes, empty can. Right? An empty can. I handed the empty can, which I for some reason happened to have, to Takeshi.
はいはい
Yes, yes.
隠れるぞ
Let's hide.
それじゃあ100数えるぞ
I'll count to 100.
よーしみんな隠れろ
Instead of 119, you're only going to count to 100? Okay, everyone. Scatter! Except, won't you, like, make a plan later?
今気がついたんですが、もし私が缶にたどり着いた場合はどうすればいいんでしょう。
I just realized, what if I reached the can? What would I do?
ああ、そうか。さすがに空は缶が切れないよな。
Oh, I see. Sora can't kick cans.
じゃあ私がペアになってあげる。
Oh, then I'll be your partner. I'll come up with the idea from last time. Except, it just so happens to be the substitute for
鬼の
Coco.
時も逃げて隠れる時も空と私は常に半径1メートル以内にいなくちゃいけないってことにするの。
When... Well, it's not when I'm the Oni. Whether we're the Oni or hiding, Sora and I must always be within a 1 meter radius of each other. Okay, now I gotta eat food. So I might be back after I get done eating food. But before I do that, I should drop a save file. And actually, I'm going to wrap it up here. So I believe I saved. And yeah, we'll finish. Actually, going to go through the can sequence in the next recording segment. I would have liked to get through this whole thing because Kick the Can is the infamous not plot relevant bloat out the game scene. But no, I have to look forward to reading it later. Anyway, if you watched all that, which was a lot, thank you for watching all that.